Hey guys, this is video 2.4, contextualization. So contextualization is, I'm going to go over the rubric in a little bit on the AP test, but it is worth 1 point on the DBQ rubric and it's 1 point on the LEQ rubric. So we're going to be practicing contextualization a lot all year, but I just want to introduce what that skill means. So when you see it, you know what I'm talking about. First of all, the definition of contextualization is, for the rubric, it situates your argument or thesis. So it provides background information that is directly relevant to whatever your prompt is. So it is telling you what was happening at the time, whatever your thesis is about. There's an acronym REAL. Now, this comes from the rubric. I kind of made it my own, but it needs to be relevant. It has to be relevant to the topic. So even if something happened right before, and you write all this stuff, but if it is not directly relevant to what the topic is, what the thesis is writing, what the prompt is asking, then it won't count. This happens sometimes if you have a topic like on Industrial Revolution, or I'll use Renaissance. If you have a question on the Renaissance, and then you're talking about what is happening in China, and it's happening at the same time, but it's happening in China, that's not relevant to what the prompt, even if it's the timeline is okay. It needs to be explicit. You have to, you can't just, vaguely describe or mention concepts. You have to like name drop. So put individual people's names, concepts names, major events, use things like that and explain how it leads to your thesis. And it needs to be accurate. Every now and then you get these brilliantly worded attempts at contextualization, but it's like, wait a second, that's not right. So if it's not relevant, if it's not explicit, or it's not accurate, you don't get a point. There's no partial credit on contextualization. So, and then I put lit at the end just so it makes it real. Make sure you have real contextualization. It's really real. It could be R, era, ERA, whatever. I'm going to show you an example of a real life. Most of you probably are familiar with this, even if you haven't seen the movie. But I'm going to show you a real quick example. Here we go. So this is an example of contextualization. We can do that a little bit. So it addresses the time period a long time ago in a galaxy far. You wouldn't say a long time ago. You'd say like in the 16th century. But if you've never seen the Star Wars movies, and at the very beginning, there's a couple paragraphs where they explain what is going on. So when the movie actually starts, you are like, oh, that must be Princess Leia. Oh, that must be Darth Vader. Oh, they must be the Empire. They're evil. Well, this must be the rebels. They're the good guys. And so we don't have to watch everything. But this is an example of contextualization for the movie. So even if you have never seen the movie and you watch it, you still should have a decent understanding of what the movie is about because of the contextualization provided in that introduction. So it's not, and it's very common in movies where they'll have like a little script or they'll have a scene that like sets up the rest of the movie, and then they have the title come or whatever. That's basically what contextualization is in an essay. So a way to look at this is background of whatever your essay is about, and it needs to be relevant, explicit, accurate. You get into whatever the topic of the essay is or your thesis, and then the results outcome. So you have to use it to explain this is what led to whatever the prompt is asking. Now, where does it go in an essay? The contextualization is right off the bat, first paragraph. And one thing that you should do, similar to the Star Wars scroll, is you should start by saying in the time period. So not verbatim, but like in the 16th century, in France, in 15th century France, in the whatever, but you situate the time. So it's like you put a bookend, like this is where my essay is going to start. And you'd say all the background here, and then you get into the thesis. Here is the rubric, and we're going to spend way more time on this, but just so you understand, the LEQ has one prompt choice of 3, and your contextualization is going to be here and here. So if we're going to get really good at contextualization, it's 2 points of the overall essay writing, which is a decent percentage of your overall score. So it's something that we need to work on and we'll get better at. But that is that. Hopefully that helped, and I will talk to you guys later. See you around.